They called it a burglary gone wrong, a tragic case of a woman in the wrong place at the wrong time. But the truth? The truth was hiding in plain sight behind a badge. It was a quiet morning in Los Angeles, 1986. John Rutan left for work like any other day. His wife, Sherri Rasmussen, stayed home. She had just started a new role as a nursing director. Full of passion and purpose, I believe she stayed home because she was working on a presentation. They were young, they were in love, they were building a life together. But by the evening, John would return to a crime scene and Sherri would be dead. The scene was chaos. Furniture overturned, broken glass, blood everywhere. Sherri had fought hard. Defensive wounds covered her body. She'd been beaten, bitten, and shot 3 times in the chest. Police arrived quickly. The area had seen a rise in burglaries. 2 male suspects, that was their working theory. Someone broke in, Sherri surprised them, they panicked, they killed her. But something didn't add up. Among the wreckage, detectives found a bite mark, unusual for a burglary. Still, a DNA swab was taken and logged as evidence. And then it vanished. The case went cold. Years passed, John moved on, so did the LAPD. But behind closed doors, Sherri's family never stopped asking questions. And in the early 2000s, so did a few cold case detectives. When the case was reopened, someone found something chilling. A DNA swab. Forgotten. Labeled Rasmussen. And what happened is somebody checked the evidence out years prior, and they never checked it back in. So this detective, she wanted to know more. She went digging for this sample. The testing revealed the bite mark didn't belong to a man. It came from a woman. Suddenly, the burglary gone wrong theory began to crumble. Detectives went back to John's history, and that's when her name surfaced, Stephanie Lazarus. She was a cop, John's ex-girlfriend, someone Sherri had reportedly felt uneasy about because she would come to her home wanting her skis waxed, like John is the only wax skier in town. And Sherri had enough of that. She would even show up at Sherri's job, kind of in like skimpy clothes, trying to show off her body. She was all around stalking her or even harassing her, being a bully. In fact, just weeks before the murder, Stephanie had shown up at John and Sherri's home, uninvited. She and Sherri argued. Stephanie was still hung up, still obsessed. After Sherri's death, Stephanie claimed her service weapon was stolen. No one questioned it. She was, one of them. Later, a letter would surface, one she wrote to her mother, confessing how much she loved John, how losing him broke her. In 2009, 23 years later, Sherri's murderer, the DNA from the bite mark, matched. They ended up testing a coffee cup of Stephanie's in the office because they just had a hunch once they found out, she was the ex-girlfriend. Stephanie Lazarus was arrested for first-degree murder. The woman who had sworn to protect and serve had killed out of jealousy. She staged the crime, faked the break-in, and walked away for decades. A decorated LAPD detective was finally exposed as a murderer. Sherri Rasmussen was strong. She fought back, and in doing so, she left behind the one clue no one could erase, a bite mark that brought a killer cop to justice. This was a story from a Hulu show, but I'm calling it Burglary Gone Wrong, the bite that solved a murder.